Hello everyone, it's me Varus, and in this video I'll be giving you a full update on the U.S. weather, forecast, tropics, severe weather, and everything in this video. If you do enjoy this video, please consider subscribing, liking, and sharing with your friends. Let's get right into it. So this video will be a longer video, or more of an overview of what I'm going to be talking about this week and the main weather highlights as I haven't uploaded in the past few days. Sorry about that. Same time, it's October 14th. We're getting close to mid-month, so expect a winter outlook to be posted. I'm going to try by this coming weekend. Keep you guys updated with that. So let's start out with the National Weather Service alerts and indices that we per usually do. Starting out in the west, as it's more active currently, have some freeze watches, warnings, mainly freeze warnings and frost advisories in portions of Oregon and Washington State. Further south, we have some winter storm warnings, winter weather advisories in the higher elevations of Nevada and California. Flood warnings for areas of the lower elevation. Further south and east, you would say, are some wind advisories for portions of southern Nevada, western Arizona, and portions of southern Cali. And then into portions of southern Colorado and northwestern New Mexico, got some flood watches and warnings and water-related issues. And then to Wyoming, western part of the state, we have some winter weather advisories as well in the higher elevations, experiencing some first snows. Into Nebraska, got some dense fog advisories. Same in Texas. Nothing too... there's a difference. Okay, so in Nebraska, we currently have dense fog advisories. And then in Texas, these are air quality alerts. Very similar colors, which was a little bit of a different spectrum. But yeah, Texas dealing with air quality issues. Nebraska with some dense fog advisories. And then kind of along the East Coast, got some localized coastal flood advisories from the lingering water that the nor'easter had brought ashore, which honestly was a letdown in my area. Let's start with the Eastern Pacific in terms of tropics. It was active for more, however it has calmed down. Still one disturbance we're watching right now, 30% in the next 48 hours, 6% in the next 7 days. Currently moving west-northwest. We'll see if it does get a closer jog towards the coast or if it does continue out to sea. Right now looking like more out to sea, but we're going to keep watching this as it could easily hug towards the coast. And even if it does go out to sea, if it gets strong enough quickly, then we could find some impacts along the western shore of Mexico. The Atlantic, we have one tropical system, it feels like the least talked about this season. Tropical storm Lorenzo, currently around 45 west, nearing 20 north. Currently heading just northwest, going to turn north probably in a mere couple hours. And really just going to continue heading north and then curve well out to sea. Not even affecting Bermuda. Nowhere near the Leeward Islands. Halfway through the MDR is taking the curve. And by this point, it's very unfavorable over here for any tropical development. So they'll expect to be a storm through midweek. And then by the end of the week, depression and extratropical by the time we get to the weekend. Let's talk about severe weather, okay? And it's going to be interesting. So we'll start with Tuesday. Just some low marginal risks. Okay, I'm going to go through these marginal risks pretty quick. Same on Wednesday and Thursday. Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. These are Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. I forgot today's Tuesday. Days 4 through 8 gets interesting, okay? Not 4, not 6, 7, or 8. 5 is where we're watching, okay? Skipped it for a reason. So, it's a 15% the next 15% risk for portions of the Mid-South. So, this includes areas of Missouri, including St. Louis, portions of southern Illinois, western Kentucky like Paducah, Memphis, and western Tennessee, northwestern portions of Mississippi, northern portions of Louisiana, Shreveport in Texas, I think. Don't know this, or Texarkana, extreme northeasterly parts of Texas. Not on the Panhandle though, just on that side. It's kind of a small area, but I mean it's still relatively populated, I'd have to argue, in this region. So we're going to watch this. What I think the setup right now is we're going to have this trough that just swings through. Going to come through here, and ahead of it, we're going to have a low pressure moving north. Should surge up moisture, clashes with the cold. Typical fall severe threat, except this one looks pretty extensive. I'll get further into the dynamics as we get a little closer to this event. So let's talk about the U.S. weather. So there's our departing nor'easter. Some activity scattered about. There's where our winter storm warnings are, as we're getting a little disturbance, bring some wintry weather. That lifts into the north. Very warm. Get some little bit of transient troughing through the northeast by October 21st. generally a negative PNA in place in the west that's causing the heat dome up in the central U.S. and bleeds into the east. However, we're always having this slight return flow off of any transient cool fronts that come through. So that could lead to some relief. But even if it's warm, it's already mid-October, getting into late October. So the above average temperatures are really just comfortable, especially in the northeast. The central U.S. a little more heightened warmth. So if we continue this, relatively quiet now, we do have these storms. Okay, so the GFS has been really consistent on bringing this low pressure across the coast and then bringing some sort of major hurricane up. And then this, I don't think this model run shows it, but eventually, since you have a trough right here, this would be insane, okay? We got a trough right here, okay? The flow is going like this. This would yank this hurricane into this coast. I don't know if it showed it the last run. Okay, but the hurricane's still there. It's an interesting signal. I will say 384 hours out. Do not take it seriously at all, okay? It's really far out. I mean, even if we look at the European model, it doesn't really show anything. Okay, and then let's go straight to the GFS. Boom, 924 hurricane just south of Cuba. So I wouldn't be too worried about it at all. Just some eye candy, as one would say. So nothing too serious, but just interesting, and definitely shows that we're getting to that part of the year. We're gonna get some crazy weather scenarios. But overall, an active pattern, I'd say, at least to say the least, across the U.S. with a consistent ridge, like no real big time cold blast for the east in place, but transient troughs will continue to bring some relief. And then the west stays pretty cold with this pretty staggered negative PNA. Should change once we get into November. So let's talk about the warm temperature. There's your negative PNA. There's your heat dome. There's your transient troughs that kind of try to push through. There's another warm area for the northeast, and you get another blob. This time comes to the central U.S. But again, you have that negative PNA. You have a troughing in Alaska as well, which is leading to overall warmth in central U.S. So there's your transient trough. Negative PNA kind of strengthens. There's your warmth. There's another trough. Okay, warmth, another trough. This is with that one storm. There's that hurricane kind of pulling through, cooler front. But overall, you see a pattern, okay? Like, I'll go back to hour 0. I'll just run this through. It's trough, warm, trough, warm, trough, warm, trough. And it continues to be like that. And then at the end, you do see some sort of positive PNA trying to build back up. And some blocking maybe takes place, allows cooler air to sneak through. We'll have to watch in the coming weeks. So I hope you enjoyed. Just wanted to squeeze that one out. If you do enjoy this video, please consider subscribing, liking, and sharing with your friends. And I hope you have a great rest of your day.